everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be trying on, testing, swatching, playing with a bunch of new products that I picked up recently from the brand One Size. I wanted to get this review up before the Sephora sale ended, but my package was delayed and I just got it. So I'm going to be trying out all these products, sharing my thoughts with you guys. So the first product I try out is this new beauty balm. So this is the Turn Up the Base BBB Cream. It is a beauty blur balm. So this retails for $33. It comes in 18 different shades. It's described as a hybrid foundation with up to all-day wear that blurs skin, visibly minimizes oil, and boosts hydration. It's claiming to be a medium coverage. It's also claiming to be buildable and breathable, blur visible texture for a soft matte second skin finish. I also want to mention that this has 11% pigment in it. I actually watched his video discussing this, which I will link that video in the description box down below, and he mentioned that it had 11% pigment. Lots to say about this BBB cream. Then I also have these new palettes. So I have two of the blush palettes and I have one of the bronze and sculpt palette. Now I want to mention, if you guys missed the Sephora sale, if you want to try these out, you can actually go to his website, the One Size website. And if you buy two blushes and a bronzer, so exactly what I have here, you can save 25% off. You can mix and match. So you buy two blushes, one bronzer trio, and you can save 25% off. The code is clapback25, but you have to buy all three of them in order for the code to work. If you wanted to buy the BBB cream, if you sign up, like if you have never bought from their website, if you sign up for like email alerts and stuff, you can save on your entire order 15% off just by signing up on their website. So let's talk about the Made for Shade Bronze and Sculpt Trio Palette. So this retails for $36 and it has 6 color combinations. So you have the lightest, which is fair. Then you have light, medium, medium dark, dark, and deep. I like that there's a wide range. I like that there are 6 different palettes to cover everyone. I really appreciate that. So I chose the shade medium dark. This is a great shade combination for me personally, and I like that it has a lot of versatility as far as a warm and a cool undertone, and you can kind of mix and match and blend it any way you want it. So this is a matte, buildable, visible texture blurring trio that shades, bronze, and sculpts your face for a touch of color to a fully contoured look. Use the shade as an all-over bronzer, bronze for a warm glow without shimmer, and sculpt to shade and define. So those are the 3 shades that are in this. Lots to say about this, and I will definitely swatch this next to other bronzer shades that I have in my collection so you guys can decide if this is the color combination for you. Now let's talk about the blush palettes. So these are called the Cheek Clapper. They're a 3D blush trio palette. So these retail for $36 and they also come in 6 different color combinations. This is the first one I have. This is the shade Very That. It's more of like a very natural, kind of everyday, soft pink kind of color. Then I have Freaky Peach, which is what I'm wearing right now. And I actually decided to put the highlighter on the lid. You guys will see me do that later on. You guys know that I love everything peach, so I was really excited about this one. These are set up like this. So right up here you have the Flex Cream, which is a versatile cream to underpaint and overpaint. Then the middle right here is called the Full Impact Matte. It's a blurring matte with buildable intensity. And then the bottom right here is called the Hyper Sheen, and it is an eye-catching glow and with a seamless finish. Each texture in this trio serves a unique purpose. Underpaint and overpaint with the Flex Cream shade, blur and build intensity with the Full Impact Matte shade, and get an eye-catching glow and a seamless finish with the Hyper Sheen shade. Formulas smooth and soften, grip and extend wear, and give skin a silky finish. Wear each one alone or layer up to set the tone your way. I will definitely swatch both of these palettes next to other blushes that I have in my collection. Lots to say about all these products from One Size. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the application. I'm going to try on the BBB cream, and then of course we're gonna get into the face palettes. Then we're gonna get into the swatches and comparisons, and then we're gonna get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, let's start with this. So this is the One Size Secure the Blur Makeup Magnet Primer. So I have kind of the deluxe size sample of it, and I remember actually really enjoying it. I just haven't bought the big size yet, but I did like it. It is a nice product. So it's really silky. Kind of reminds me of like a touch of silk canvas, but maybe a little creamier. I don't know, but it does have kind of that blurring effect. It kind of gives you that silky but poreless look. I can't explain it, but it is a nice primer. I have quite enjoyed it. So I thought maybe I'd pull it out today and put it on before I go in with the turn up the base. Let's talk about this new BB cream. So this is called a BBB cream. This is the Beauty Blur Balm. I read a little bit about it. It has, I think, 11% pigment. It has like jasmine flower. It has quite a few products in it that are supposed to be super hydrating, but also kind of blurs the imperfections, pores, works well on texture. I watched his video. He did mention that kind of putting it on and like blending it in with your fingers kind of gives you the best version of it. I'm not big on applying foundation with my hands. There's something about the texture of it, the feeling of it. It's like borderline nails on a chalkboard for me. I have a hard time with the texture of foundation with my fingers. I just do. I'm the only one that has like phobias and like weirdness with foundation with my hands. Yeah, like, oh, I don't know. It just freaks me out for some reason. So let me say this about the packaging. So it comes quite full, right? And then especially if when it's shipped to you, it's shipped by air, so it's going to expand. So this is how it comes. It has this lid that you pop open like this, okay? But you have to unscrew the cap and take the little tab thing off. Well, when I did that on one of them, foundation spit everywhere. Like I had it all, I was like, it was a lot. Not being dramatic. Y'all, it was a lot of foundation all over my white desk. So just kind of be careful and be mindful of that. So this is medium 3. And this is medium dark 2. Medium dark 2 is with golden undertones, and medium 3 is also with golden undertones. So they both have golden undertones. They're just different levels of depth. And I think this one's going to be a little bit better of a match. And I will swatch these two shades next to other foundations that I have so you guys can kind of see how they compare. I'm just going to put a little bit here on the back of my hand. This is a very moussey texture. So for those of you that like to apply your foundation with a sponge, this one might be a nice one because it's been my experience with moussey texture foundations that the sponge doesn't quite absorb it. A lot of the times when you have a more liquid formula, your sponge just kind of soaks it all up. But because of the texture of this one, I have a feeling a sponge really won't soak this up. I'm gonna put some here. Okay, so here we go with the hands. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of start, my hair is gonna be in the way. I can see why applying with your hands with this like moussey base to it, I can see why the hands really helps to kind of give you the best coverage. And the warmth of your fingers kind of allows you to kind of push the product around. I like the way my hands are spreading it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna take my brush and kind of make sure that this is nice and blended. I've heard those who have oily skin are loving this. I think I saw on one of Risa Does Makeup's videos, I love her by the way, I think she's the sweetest, but I remember her saying that this is one of her newest favorites. Like she just loves it. And she has oily skin. She was recommending it for those who have mature, like oily skin. But this looks really beautiful. I really don't feel like I need to do anything to it. I don't feel like I need to push it into the skin. I don't feel like I need to mess with it with a sponge. This just like blended into the skin beautifully. And I actually quite like the fingers to do this. So I'm going to do it again on this side. feel like you get the best like blurring effects from it when you apply it with your fingers, because it like applies very smooth over the skin. And I quite like that, to be honest with you. I think the fingers also help it to not get too thick, like not get too heavy in certain areas. I also like that. I feel like the fingers like moves the foundation because it's so moussey and thick. I feel like the fingers kind of move the foundation much better than a brush or a sponge would. Okay, I'm done. And I feel like with this foundation, the application's going to be key. I'm not fully loving the way it's looking like right here in this area. So I'm going to kind of go over it with my brush and just make sure it's not too thick in those areas. Like this one does a great job blurring pores. So if you have enlarged pores, it definitely blurs that area. But I feel like this one might be a little tricky on wrinkles or like texture right here. It kind of reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation without all of that glow. I love the way that foundation looks when I apply it from Charlotte Tilbury, but it just doesn't last because it starts slipping and sliding all over the place. This one I feel like gives you that smoothing effect, but without that slip and slide. I feel like this one is going to be one that would stay put. I can see why someone with oily skin would really enjoy this. Now, dry skin, I don't feel like this is going to be dry skin friendly. I feel like this is probably best for those who have normal, combo, and oily skin. I have normal skin right now. I feel like the only hesitation I have with this is how it's sitting in this area. I feel like it might be a little bit too thick. So we'll see how it wears throughout the day and stuff. But other than that, I love the way this looks, especially right here. Right now, at this point, I don't feel like I need to put on my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush powder right here because I felt like the foundation just kind of blurred that area. So there's a lot of beautiful things about this. So I'm kind of excited to wear it. That's my thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera, do my brows, do my eye makeup, and when I come back, we're going to jump into these new products for the face. So I'll be right back. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into these face palettes from One Size. So this is called Made for the Shade. It is a bronze and sculpt trio, and I got it in the shade medium dark. I can say that these are very pigmented, so I'm a little bit little bit apprehensive because that's a lot of pigment. The textures feel super buttery, but I feel like because they have so much pigment, I'm going to go in with a really light hand until I kind of get used to the formula. I'm going to grab the Wayne Goss #1 brush, and I'm going to go into this middle shade right here. You can see that a lot picks up. I'm just going to start kind of bronzing the face right here. It's got really good pigment. It does. Now to sculpt, so right underneath the bronzer, I'm going to carve this area out. So I'm going to take this brush from Smith Cosmetics. This is the 103. I'm going to go into that shade right there. I'm going to tap off, and I'm going to focus that like right there just to give me a little bit of depth. And let's see how easy it is to blend that out. I have foundation in my fingernails from putting that on. Ooh. So even though I had a harsh line, I feel like it's blending. I'm going to dip into that shade and also kind of carve out my forehead, kind of giving me a little bit of a shadow here at the base of the hairline. I'm going to leave that there for now. I'm going to buff it out with some setting powder, but I wanted to do the blush on this side without anything because I want you guys to see the blush on this side without the bronzer and stuff. So this is called the Cheek Clapper. It's a 3D blush trio, and this is in the shade Freaky Peach. Such a beautiful tone. You guys know I love peach. So it's a versatile cream to underpaint and overpaint. So it seems like you can put it under the powder blush or over the powder blush. The cream formula does not have any shine to it. So it kind of feels like the BBB cream, the turn up the base, the BBB cream. I'm having a hard time talking today, but it kind of has that texture to it. You can see, so this right here is the cream, and then this is the powder blush, and then this is the highlight, but you can see that this has no shine, and it almost has a very moussey texture. I don't know that I have, it kind of feels similar to the Armani Beauty, what are those called? The Neo Nude, the melting blushes, because it kind of has that creamy texture to it, but it has no shine. So I'm actually really excited to try this because the formula feels really good. Like, it doesn't feel like it's going to emphasize, it kind of feels like it's going to be more of a blurring. And because it doesn't have the shine, it's not going to make the foundation underneath transparent. A lot of the times when you're applying a cream blush, if it has an emollient base and it's too much emollient base, then you put it on the face and it's got that shine, and all of a sudden my hyperpigmentation and all the things that I covered with foundation will start to pop through. And it almost makes my foundation a little transparent, but I don't feel like that is the case with this. This is a very beautiful color combination, and I'm excited to try this cream blush. I am. It feels like it's got a really nice texture. Also want to mention that this does have the little plastic thing that covers the cream to keep the cream hydrated and also keep the powder products from getting into the cream. So I'm going to first go in with my sponge, and I'm going to grab a tiny bit here of the Very Peach. Is that what it's called? Freaky Peach. So I'm going to be very gentle and just kind of apply it right here on the face. Super easy to apply. I love that finish. This is, that is beautiful. That applied so easily, and it's so complimentary on the face. It doesn't have a lot of shine to it, so it doesn't have a lot of dew to it. That is a beautiful cream blush. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to now go into the powder blush right here. Now a lot picks up, so I'm going to be tapping off and making sure that I don't get a lot here. Okay, so that is a nice formula. Okay, so I know that's a lot, but I am going to diffuse it when I put on some powder. So powder will diffuse that. That is, woo, that's a lot. I'm going to go on this side. I'm going to apply a little bit of the cream first. That cream is fabulous. Oh, it's such a good cream formula, you guys. Ooh, so good. All right, now I'm going to go into the powder. The powder is really pigmented, so I really wouldn't call it buildable. I would call it very pigmented. So just go in with a very light hand. So I'm going to go ahead and bronze on this side, and then I'm going to powder, and then I'll use the highlighter. So I went ahead and powdered and kind of softened it up, but this blush is very pigmented. So I'm going to go in with my highlighter brush. Oh, so pigmented. So I don't know if it was my brush that picked it up, but you guys can see lots of pigment, you guys. Like, be so careful with this. Look how messy that highlighter is. So let me try a different brush. Maybe this synthetic brush from Sigma just picked up too much. So I'm going to grab a natural hair. This is a squirrel hair brush. So this is from Wayne Goss. That didn't pick up as much, but this is still quite powdery, so just FYI. It's a pretty highlighter. It's really soft and kind of subtle. And I feel like if you have a lighter complexion, I wouldn't wear that shade as a highlighter. You could wear it on the lid. I bet that would be really pretty on the lid. Let's just try it over top of what I got. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take my Smith 253 and I'm going to go into that highlighter and place it like right there in the... Yeah, you could totally use it on the face, on the lid. Look how pretty that is. I would probably wear this as eyeshadow, or you could put it a little bit over top of the blush to kind of highlight the blush. But I actually like the way that this looks as eyeshadow. It kind of brought the whole look together, right? Having like the peachy look on the face and then putting that on the eye actually kind of brought the whole thing together. I got a lot of eyeshadow, but you can see how pigmented that is because it was able to cover what I had on my lid. Just to kind of pull it together, I'm going to take this brush from Smith Cosmetics. This is the 253, and I'm going to go into that peachy blush, grabbing just a tiny bit of it, and I'm going to bring it like right there in the crease. Yeah, just to add a little bit of that peach to the crease. Okay, so this is the final look using all of the products that I used from One Size today. Lots to say about these. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the swatches so you guys can kind of see how the shades compare, and then we will get into my final thoughts. So I will see you guys then. Okay, so now that we've made it through the swatches and comparisons, which I do hope that those were helpful, let me go ahead and get into my final thoughts. I want to first talk about the BBB cream. Now, you guys know that when it comes to complexion products, I like to wear them for several days to really get a good idea whether I really like something or not. I don't really like wearing, especially a complexion product, for one day and then come on here and be like, oh, it's great, or no, it's crap. I like to wear them for multiple days before I kind of give my full thoughts on it. So even though this is the first day that I've tried it, I don't want to fully give you guys my yay or nay on it, but what I will give you is the pros and cons that I have noticed just by wearing it today. So the first thing that I love about it is it definitely blurs. So I did not feel that I needed to put on any type of blurring powder right here on the center of my face. The way that it kind of melts into the skin with the hands, because it has that marshmallow texture, it does do a beautiful job. I feel like this is not going to be dry skin friendly. I just don't see somebody with dry skin loving this one because I have a feeling that this is going to be a clinger. But I can tell you that my face looks so smooth and so blurred out. The only thing that I don't like about it is that it's weighing a little heavy in my wrinkles and right here. Like I mentioned in the application, right here is kind of my trouble area, if you will. It's kind of the area that if a foundation looks good there, I'm gonna love it. If it doesn't look good, I'm gonna have to tweak it and I may not love it. So right now I'm kind of on the fence about this, the way that it's laying in my wrinkles. If you have normal skin or normal to dry skin, I feel like this one will not be super wrinkle friendly. I feel like this one might exaggerate just a little bit in that area. So I'm gonna keep kind of playing around with this, but what makes me want to kind of tweak this and make it work is just how blurring it is. There are things that I really love about it, which makes me want to try to find ways to make it work. It might just be one that I need to add more hydration over on the wrinkles, or, you know, be really mindful of how much I'm applying in that area to make sure that I'm not applying too much so it won't weigh as heavy. Let's talk about the Bronze and Sculpt palette. Here's my thing. I actually really like the textures in this, but this is very pigmented. This is a lot of pigment. And there was a few times when I was applying on both sides that I felt like I had too much on and I was like, oh shit, like what am I gonna do? But I was able to kind of take my powder brush and really buff out some of those harsh areas. This is a very buttery, smooth texture formula. And because it's a buttery formula, you can really blend it out very easily. You just have to be mindful that a lot picks up. So it's a very pigmented formula. And sometimes I don't really love an overly pigmented bronzer because I like to kind of build and kind of buff as I go. And if something's got too much pigment, if you're not careful, you can get too much on and then you have to work really hard to blend it out. So until you kind of get used to the formula, tap your brush off, make sure that you're not putting too much on so that you can maintain control of where you're applying it and how you're applying it. But I will say, with that said, even if you feel like you've taken it too far, maybe you've applied too much of the bronzer, the formula is nice to the point where you can go into your setting powder, you can grab your brush and buff it out really, really fast. It's such a buttery formula that it kind of melts away and blends really easily. So just go very lightly, very light hand, and it's a fantastic formula. Okay, let's talk about the blush palettes. I don't think it's going to be a secret. I am absolutely obsessed with that cream formula. It is the most softest cream texture. It has no shine to it. Like you can see it sitting here on my finger, and it builds so easily because of that texture. It like has that blurring effect where you put it on the skin and it kind of blurs that area out. Like the cream formula gets an A+. Like it's a 5 out of a 5. It's a 10 out of a 5. That cream formula is phenomenal. Hats off, like phenomenal. In my opinion, it's one of the best cream formulas out there because of the way it applies. And you can totally wear that cream formula all on its own. You don't need to go into a powder blush because it's got enough pigment to work on its own. Melts into the skin, kind of blurs the skin at the same time because it does have a very satin, soft, velvety texture to it. Phenomenal formula, like A+ all day, every day. Good formula. Now the powder blush, super pigmented, you guys. You saw how much, like I tapped my brush in and tapped off, and I put it over top of that cream. Now don't get me wrong, having that cream down probably made the powder blush even more intense, right? So maybe going in with the powder first, maybe it wouldn't be as intensive as it was going with the cream first, but it's a very intensive blush regardless. So just be super, super careful with the way that you apply it. The way that I feel like I'll get the best use out of this powder blush is to go into it with my brush, tap off like this, and then I'll tap off back of my hand and then go in because I feel like I'm going to be able to have the most control over it, applying it that way. And the same goes, you could do the same trick with the bronzer, just kind of being very careful with how much you first put on until you can kind of build it. If you're somebody like me that likes to build, but I love the blush palettes. Like they did such a phenomenal job. And after trying the products that I have, it kind of makes me want to try one of his eyeshadow palettes because I'm curious how buttery they are because all of these face products are so buttery that I'm really curious to try one of his eyeshadow palettes. So if any of you guys out there have ever used any of his eyeshadow palettes, what has been your experience? I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. So stand up down below in the comment section. Let us know. That's it for my review. Stand up down below in the comment section. Let us know, have you guys tried any of the products that I used in today's video and what has been your experience? You guys know that I love hearing all of your thoughts on it, especially if your thoughts differ from mine, because I always appreciate everyone's perspective because we're all so different. And if your perspective is different than mine, definitely never hold back sharing. I love it. I think it's so helpful for the audience. So share with us in the comment section down below your experience. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.